Thanks everyone for being here. I think we're at 7,000 tickets out, and so I think there's a good chance this will be a sellout. So get your tickets soon. Uh, it's going to be an amazing environment. We're excited about it. I knew that Penn State would be very good, especially after our spring scrimmage with them. They are absolutely deserving of their high ranking, and it's not postseason. We're a ways from there. There's a lot of improving yet to do, but this will certainly be a very nice test for our team to see where we're at.
I know it's early and rankings don't really mean that much, but it's not often we see two Pennsylvania programs at the top of the rankings at the same time. What does that mean for the state, especially with you guys playing on Wednesday?
Yeah, I recently I can't remember who did the story on just the growth of volleyball and in the Pittsburgh area, and I don't know that I have the best perspective on that because I'm always just thinking about recruiting or our next game, but I do think it's huge for our state, and you're going to see probably the results of that, you know, inspiring young people over the next 10, 20 years of just with girls growing up thinking it's mainstream and dreaming of being like the girls they're seeing on Wednesday night.
Dan, I mean, your vision for this program obviously is bigger than one match with Penn State, but there has to be a little part of you that's got some satisfaction of you kind of have moved past them a little bit the last couple of years in terms of national ranking, NCAA success. I mean, that it counts for something, doesn't it?
Sure, but I honestly, my relationship with Russ over the years, he was so generous with me and complimentary. So that I really, on a personal level, not a lot, but I do know I've been here long enough and I know what it means to Pitt fans to beat Penn State and to be above them in the rankings, um, and so yeah, I would answer it that way. Just that. Yeah, our goal is to win a national championship, and there's clearly someone in our way. But from a program standpoint, yes, but on a personal one, no.
Yeah. When you mentioned Russ, but Katie's been there for this her third year
Mm-hmm.
now. And you play them regularly in the spring and so forth. What do you see in terms of? Can you see something that's more like her stamp on the program, or maybe what she's maybe done a little differently to tweak it a little bit?
Well, I think, a style of play wise, I think maybe they're playing a little faster than they did when Russ was there. But she's been very aggressive in the transfer portal, maybe more than Russ was. But it's hard to say if that's her style or
Right.
it was just necessity. But they definitely reloaded really fast.
Coach, do you watch the film of the spring game a lot in preparation for this game? And then, if so, is there anything different that they're doing now in the fall compared to what they were doing?
I haven't rewatched that yet. We will this week, but I mean, it was spring and we had a lot of players out, and so I think we'll probably be looking more at their most recent games.
What's the atmosphere like? Talk about the buzz, the atmosphere. I mean,
Well, we just got back from California last night, so the buzz is just happening right now today, and me learning about, I think our ticket office was saying it's been the last few days has been like 500 tickets out a day. So I think it's snowballing, and it's I just had two other interviews this morning, and so yeah, this is kind of, I guess, feels like a Final Four almost in terms of media attention, and so yeah, I guess we're grateful just knowing where we were a few years back.
The growth of your program's kind of gone hand in hand with the growth of volleyball as a sport, like you mentioned, the attention around you guys. Usually the names we're throwing out are Wisconsin, Nebraska, those big names, but for you to be number one in the country, they're broadcasting that you guys are playing during everyone else's games. What does that mean, like, as a coach, to know that you have grown the program to be ride up there with those notorious names?
Yeah, these questions are tough because I don't, when you're in it, you don't do a lot of reflecting on. You're just getting ready for the next team you're trying to play, but it's beyond what I certainly thought when I got here. But I think until we win a national championship, we're always going to be. You're not going to be seen in the same light as a Texas or Nebraska or a Stanford until you win that, and I know that, and so it means a lot. I'm grateful, but our goal is to go all the way.
Coach, is this the best start you've ever had, like at Pitt, for a season in your tenure here?
Tough to say because we've only played 2 weekends, but I like our team and I like the way we're playing, and I think we're the best we've ever been.
What's impressed you most about like the team to start the year?
I think, our setting and our libero play is as good as it's ever been. Our passing is further along than maybe I thought it would be, so we're passing at a really high level, and probably the final one is just the improvement of Tori Stafford. Her offense especially is another big weapon.
Did you expect this whenever she was coming back from injury? Or?
Well, I didn't know that, no, I didn't. I mean, I didn't know. I hoped, but whenever someone's out with injury, you don't know how they're going to come back, and she wasn't able to jump for a while, and so we really made passing a priority over the spring because that was what she was able to do. But so she's improved with her ball control, but really she's jumping higher and hitting harder and has more range than she did a year ago.
Anybody in particular from Penn State, from experience in the spring and whatnot, anybody jump out at you as someone you're going to have to maybe pay particular attention
Yeah.
to?
Well, Merzick, of course.
Right.
But I think all 3 of their pins are problematic. Hannah's someone we've known in the ACC for a long time. I remember her freshman year at Clemson going, man, who is this girl that's able to, I think she was a setter in high school, but was just going over a double block. And so I think all their pins can score out of system. And so we're going to have to work hard to win some long rallies and to put them in uncomfortable spots.
Olivia Babcock had a huge week last week. Double-digit kills in every single game, blocks, digs, did just about everything, and in front of her home crowd. What can you say about her performance last week?
She, I think before the weekend, one of the announcers said, "Oh, her numbers aren't very good," and that announcer followed it up with, "Well, I know it's early," and I said, "I agree. I think she'll be just fine." She's one of the best players in college, and she's able to carry a huge load, and she's better than a year ago. And we're lucky she's at Pitt.
Her serving's a lot better than it was last year, like in consistency-wise. Is there anything you've noticed she did over the offseason that made her a lot better?
She's having a good serving year, and really did not have that great of a serving preseason. So it was a challenge coming out of the preseason that the coaches put on her to, that if you're going to be a jump top spinner, you gotta go on runs, because there is a higher chance of errors. So the trade-off needs to be she goes on long runs, and she's definitely been able to do that.
Every year I feel like we talk about the Big Ten being the best league in volleyball. Do you think the ACC might dethrone them this year?
Yes, and I said that last spring. I've been saying it, that at the top we're the best conference in the country, and I believe that. And I think if you see the results, from the preseason, it's pretty obvious how good we are.
So do you think Wednesday's game with the top ACC team and the top Big Ten team right now is really going to be able to show just how good both conferences are?
Both are great conferences, and I don't think, the ACC needs to win a national championship. That's what needs to happen. And so until then, I think, there's going to be the naysayers, and hopefully it's us.
Coach, what have you learned about your team in these first couple weeks that maybe you didn't know whenever you were training leading up to?
Yeah, I think probably the level we've passed at has been a pleasant surprise. And but I think that's the only one that's really jumped out that I would say like it's something different than I'd hoped we'd be that good. But I think we're almost all three passers are around 60% in system, which is really rare to have all three do so well.
You feel like you're better than you expected?
Yes, both Tori and Valeria are passing better, and Blair for that matter, than they were a year ago. And so, which is huge.
Building off of that, how improved do you think your serve receive is from last year?
Yeah, well, that's what we're talking about. Is the last year it was basically I think most teams were just trying to keep it off Emmy, and so now there's been some some rotations where I've seen some teams try her out just because Valeria and Tori are doing so well.
How's your depth, Coach?
Depth is very good in all but one position, and I won't say what that is.
Is the middle blocker position still up for debate for the?
Yeah, Ryla's been doing a great job, and she's been the clear, number 2 so far. But Bianca and Dahlia definitely still have a chance to beat her out.
If you had to pick one area of your game that you really want the team to improve on, what would it be?
I think I'd still would like to, I'd like to get our middles more involved, and we're working on just them being better at slides and different routes. And then 2 would probably be, our back row attack could improve as well.
How do you feel like Bree is playing? Because I know she had to sit out. So how's she kind of blended in and got herself?
Yeah,
back?
she's still, I wouldn't say or is 100%, and but what a presence on the court. I mean, she can kill you offensively or defensively, and so she's someone that is that's huge. She's back, and that we are gonna looking at that. We're trying to have her peak in November, December.
When you're going into a rivalry game like this, are you a little bit more juiced up for a game like this, or does your temperament stay the same?
I mean, I think we're all going to be a little bit more juiced up, for this kind of crowd, and but there still is the perspective that it's it is September, so it's more that when you play good teams, they expose you and they teach you about yourself, and so it's a good chance for us to learn about who we are.
Your players to be a little bit more excited for this game?
Yeah, of course. I like, it's just in order to make a deep run in the tournament, you have to be really good in front of big crowds, and so this is a chance for us to practice that.
You let Rachel Fairbanks and Tori Stafford have the day off on Saturday, giving Blair and Nisa the opportunity. What did you like about them on Saturday?
I mean, Blair was just so dominant offensively and serve receive. And so she's truthfully battling with Valeria as well. So I really liked how she ball handled. And Nisa is a very, very good setter and certainly capable of running offense. And so it was good to manage some load a little bit and give those two a chance to show what they can do.
How crucial has Nisa been to this roster with the other 2 setters currently being down with injury?
Yeah, it was really, really critical. We decided to bring her in when High T went down with an injury, but setter depth is obviously really important, and we were lucky to get someone as good as her so late.
Not only do you have a ranked Penn State, but you got a ranked Marquette this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You talk a lot about putting challenging opponents early to prepare you. Did you think about, maybe not putting too many challenging opponents, knowing the strength of the ACC?
No, because in order to get a top 4 seed, and top 16 and top 4 is always the goal, we have to have a strong RPI, and so getting Marquette. The timing of it 2 in 1 week is not always controllable, but you know, we've got to play good teams if we want to host.
I think you talked about it in preseason with Blair. She had the experience. Was it the US U21?
Mhm.
Have you seen her like be more confident as a result of that
Oh
experience?
God, yeah. Well, I mean, that experience and just a year older, and the playing time she got last year, being in our practice gym for a year, she's definitely way more equipped to compete this year than she was a year ago.
Coming into this matchup on Wednesday, is there a specific part of the game that you're looking for Pitt to dominate in for them to win?
You know, I want to be good both offensively and defensively, but you know, as a coach, I think I probably have a tendency to like just really probably obsess more with, you know, like the defensive side, and so look at, you know, what our opponent hitting percentage is, which we're very good at right now. So I'm probably looking more at how do we make them uncomfortable.
Speaking of opponent hitting percentage, you guys are second in the nation. Eastern Carolina is first, and you play them on Friday. Defensive matchup right there. How would you? I mean, we've talked a lot about your defense, but are you content with your defense now? Or are you still
I'm never content. And in fact, I did not know Eastern Carolina was #1. So thanks for reminding me that. I always think there's more we can do, and different ways we can serve, or different ways we can block to get a team uncomfortable or out of system. And so no, we still feel like we can improve.
With Penn State, they have like a really balanced lineup of hitters with Hannah, Merzick, and there's plenty more. Is there like a specific, like are you trying to key in on a specific player coming into this game, or is it just like a game time like decision?
I think it's more by, you know, by rotation. You know, how we want to defend each rotation.
What are you most excited for Wednesday?
Most excited? I mean, probably just the thought of selling this thing out.
Any message to those fans that are novice and just coming for the intensity in the Pitt and Penn State rivalry? Any message to those folks?
Yeah, just if this is your first time, you know, we're working hard to put on a great show, and we appreciate your support.
What do you tell the kids, coaching them, getting them ready for this, for a sellout, a little bit about the rivalry? What do you share with them, and how do you try and keep them level and balanced to come out and put on a good show?
Yeah, well, just that we want to have those nerves. We want the excitement for the reasons we talked about. Just that this is how we're going to feel when December rolls around. That being said, that this isn't lose or go home. So you know, it is. We can play in a way that, you know, it's maybe a little bit more free than we would, but you know, I think they'll be ready. We've got some players that have proven they like the bright lights.
Last question for Coach. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thanks, everyone.